Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds. Welcome to Ask the Cheeseman, and this is episode 137. Yes, we've had 137 episodes of Ask the Cheeseman. Crazy. But that's not the only crazy thing that's happened over the last few days. Those who may notice, if you can have a look at the little counter at the back, last time we talked, it was probably about 169,000 subscribers. Right now, it's currently sitting at 202,000 subscribers. So it's just crazy. And the reason that has happened is from a tweet from a lovely guy called Joe, who on Twitter tweeted out something like this. Hang on, let me just bring it up on the second screen. That's the right screen. What it says, and I can't move it over for some reason. So it says, last night Corona led me down a YouTube rabbit hole, and I ended up watching a video of an Australian cheesemaker making parmesan. He starts his videos by saying, "G'day curd nerds," and all the comments are Italians telling him to go F himself. Anyway, so that Joe also put a link to the show, and a link to the channel, of course, and from there the rest is history. I think I've had like 1 million views in the last 2 days of the Parmesan video, plus a few other videos, but we've increased subscribership by 30,000 subscribers. So I welcome all the people who are watching the show right now. Now, don't forget that the show is moderated by my lovely wife, Kim, and she's in the chat as well. You can see her with her little blue spanner she's got there, so she'll kick out any naughty boys and girls. Let's get on with the show. So, we've got, oh my goodness, I tell you what. So, normally I list out the patrons, and I'm still going to, but it's going to take a little bit longer than what it does normally. So let's have a go, shall we? I'll do first names only because there's so many. And we've got a super chat by Ricky. Thank you, Ricky, very much for your super chat. I'll just kill the curd nerd lamp. You probably notice when a chat goes off, the curd nerd lamp goes off as well, for those who are new to the live chat. Anyway, thank you very much to, these are patrons in no specific order. Thank you very much to Janice, to Gail, to Jeremy, to Catherine, to Paul, Y. Bulach, or I think it's Yasmin. Thank you to Sebastian. Thanks to KS. Thank you to Bill. Thank you to Herbert. Who else? Carissa. Thank you, Carissa. Thank you to Jasmine. Thank you to Loki, I think that's how you pronounce it. And thank you to Kate. They're all new patrons in the last 2 or 3 weeks. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And then on to YouTube memberships. So thank you to these all people who are on YouTube and hit the little join button down below. So thank you to Jason. Thank you to Michael. Thank you to Kevin. Thank you to Alison. Thank you to Jim. Thank you to Judy. Thank you to Cash. And thank you to Grace. Fantastic. Thank you for all becoming YouTube members or renewing your membership this month. So absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for all of the new subscribers that have turned up as well. It's overwhelming, to say the least, for this humble curd nerd and cheesemaker. So the videos coming up this week, before we get to the questions, are Morbier will be coming up in the next week or so, maybe a slight delay because it takes a while to make. So I've made the cheese. I've got the ash line. It's actually sitting in its what's known as its warm period at the moment for a couple of days. And then it's actually a little bit tacky and greasy, which it's supposed to be after the warm period, because all the yeasts and the flora start to grow on the outside of the cheese. And then I've got a wash sitting in the fridge of bee linens, or proteobacterial linens, and Geotrichum candidum in a simple brine solution. So I'll be washing that in the next couple of days. So we'll see how that goes. And then I've got to put it into a cool place, and we'll go from there. And it should start to get its orange rind and start to soften in the middle like a good Morbier should. Okay, now I've ordered some milk this weekend from my lovely supplier at Inglenook Dairy. So they're going to supply me with some milk and cream this weekend. And I'm going to be making a burrata. I think that was suggested by Ruth. So thank you, Ruth, for your suggestion. And with some excess cream, I'll be making some herb and garlic butter as well. So I'll make a video on how to make herb and garlic butter. So that should be absolutely fantastic. So they're the videos coming up. Now, normally I do a shout out to everybody that's joined. I don't know, Kim's saying something about Holly, our dog. There she is. Holly, say hello. Hello, Holly. Anyway, there's Holly, one of our cheese taste test dogs. The other one's Teddy. He's sleeping over here somewhere, over there. Yeah, it's all cool. We've got so many questions already. I'll be lucky to get through them in an hour, but we'll give it a go. So I've got starting back at 6:18, but before that, I got woken up at 5:30 this morning by the flashing curd nerd light, and we got a couple of super chats from that time. First one was from Ruth, $2 super chat. Thank you, Ruth. She says, cheese hugs and kisses to all. And another one from her says, Gavin, Kim, and all curd nerds, miss you all so much. Cannot come today, but so happy to see you back. Sending cheese hugs to all. Be safe. I think that's... no, I can't see any more of the message because it got cut off, and it's not in the chat anymore because it was so early before the show. Thank you very much, Ruth, for your kind super chats. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, you got the curd nerd light flashing at 5:30 this morning. Thanks, love. Okay, on with the show. Let's have a look at some of the questions that we've got here so far. I don't know the context of this because it's cut off. People were chatting at 6 a.m. this morning, my time. Crazy. Let's have a look if I can find a question. Yeah, okay. Some people were... All right, let's start at 8 o'clock where it was like normal time for people. Patricia says hello from socially distant Halifax, Nova Scotia in Canada. Staying home making cheese, indeed. It's fantastic. Ambrose, g'day. Yes, we are doing well. Thank you very much. Although, and I dare say Kim wouldn't mind me sharing this, that she actually had to miss a chemo session yesterday because she has a cold. Ben and I have had a cold for nearly 3 weeks now, so they said that the risk was too high, that because the chemo lowers your immune system and she's immune compromised at the moment because of the treatment, that she shouldn't have her dose of the drug called Taxol. So they're going to see her next week and we'll go from there. But we had to do a 2.5 hour drive to get there and back. An hour and a bit drive to get there for them to tell us in 10 minutes to turn around and go back home again. Phone call would have been nice. Anyway, first question is from Laura, and Laura is a YouTube member. She says, hello Gavin, I've vac packed Cotswold a few weeks out from being ready. There's a bit of whey around the edges for weeks. The cheese is firm. Should I repack it to get rid of the excess whey? No, that's fairly normal. It depends on how much is a lot. If it's just normal and it's just a little bit of seeping and it's in the cracks of the vacuum packing, that's fine. Don't worry about it. But if it's like the bag's full of whey, then yeah, empty it and re-vacuum pack it. It's just that the vac packing has sucked a lot of the moisture out of the cheese. And you'll find that it may become crumbly, but that's just one of the things that happen during backpacking with some of the softer sort of cheeses, but that'll be fine. Excuse me. The next question was from Domowi Sir, Welsh, Polish, not sure. It says, hi Gavin, what do you think about using cultured buttermilk instead of mesophilic culture and real yogurt with Streptococcus thermophilus instead of thermophilic culture? Yep, look, I've done that before. If you have a look at my triple pepper jack cheese, then you'll notice that I use cultured buttermilk instead of the mesophilic starter culture. The cheese did turn out fairly crumbly, but that's kind of normal with a Monterey Jack, well, the style that I make anyway. So you can do that, but remember that cultured buttermilk has in it an aromatic mesophilic starter culture, so it's very similar to MO36R by Sacco, very similar to Flora Danica by CHR Hansen. They're just some of the cultures off the top of my head that are very similar to what cultured buttermilk is. So expect a buttery texture in the cheese if you're going to use cultured buttermilk, and a little bit of a sourness as well. But that's okay, because if you have a look at the buttermilk blue that I made, the buttermilk blue that I made, then you'll see that it turned out so creamy, so soft, so smooth. Then yeah, no problems at all. I did add a little bit of starter culture to that cheese, but it was fine. As far as real yogurt goes, you'll find that yes, your cheese will work. I actually, if you have a look at the provolone video that I made, and Kim can put these up in the links if she can find them fast enough. The provolone that I made, I actually used yogurt as the starter culture to increase the acidity really quickly, to get that provolone to work. So I have used it. I did find that the provolone, yes, it did stretch and all that, and it came out very nice and tasty. It was a little bit sharp, but that could be just the flavour of provolone. Remember that yogurt cultures have a culture in it called Lactobacillus lactis bulgaris, which is a really fast acidifier. So it's probably best to stick with a normal thermophilic when you're making some of those stretchy Italian cheeses. Okay, Patricia says, my most recent cheese was an all-use feta at $10 a litre. I won't be doing this too often. The cheese was very creamy and dissolved a bit in 10% brine. Does used milk have a different pH than goat's milk? Yes. So used milk tends to be a little bit less acidic than what goat's milk is. Goat's milk is a bit sharper. You will need to add a little bit more acid to the brine to stop it from going mushy and dissolving. So, yeah. But it's best to check that before you put your cheese into the brine, if you're making a feta style, then check the pH of the curd itself, and then check the pH of the brine, and they should be about the same, within a couple of points of pH, and that'll stop them from dissolving. Don't forget to also add into the brine the calcium chloride, which stops the calcium ion exchange, which is part of the reason the mushiness around the edge of the cheese happens as well. Matthew says, hello, g'day world curd nerds from the Netherlands. Hi Gavin, Kim, thanks mate, how are you? Matt says, g'day Gavin, congrats on hitting 20,000 subs. Thank you very much. I'm going to make a video soon, because not everybody watches the live streams. I'll be making a video soon saying, thanks very much. for the 20,000 and what happened in what order and that sort of thing. So that'll be cool. Hopefully making that this afternoon after we got all the lovely cheese orders shipped from our shop, Little Green Workshops. Okay, John Lord from San Francisco. G'day, mate. How are you? Lovely to see you. Don't forget to give the show a thumbs up if you like, as John always says. That would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Susan says, I want to start making cheese. Have made farmer's cheese and ricotta. What do you suggest I start with and the minimum equipment that I need? I've got two lovely videos for you, Susan, and Kim can pop up the links. So, Kim, if you can find the cheese making equipment video, then pop the link up for that, please, love. And the beginner's cheese list, the standard one where we have cheeses you can make without a cheese fridge, which is a great place to start. So, where are we? Matthew has said, hey Gavin, I tried some of my cheese recently. The cheddar, after 5 months, has a sour note at the start. Okay, and the red Leicester has a sour note at the end. A bit like off milk. Any ideas? Usually a bitterness or a sourness indicates that either you use too much starter culture is one of the symptoms. Another of the symptoms is not enough salt to inhibit too much acid develop, so that could be an issue. I have found when I've had cheeses like that in the past, I've simply vacuum packed them and left them for another 3 to 4 months, and you'll find that the process of proteolysis, which is the conversion of proteins to fats, then gets a chance to finish and your cheese isn't as bitter or sour. Worst comes to worst, what you can do is turn it into an American cheese, and that actually makes all the bitterness go away due to the sodium citrate that you add to the cheese. And Matthew, I think you've seen the American cheese video before. Remember, that's a last ditch. Any bad cheeses you make, well, not bad cheeses, any cheeses that aren't quite right, you can always reprocess them into a lovely cheese. Which is highly edible. It's great. And it's not the American cheese, processed cheese that people think of. It's a very simple process by adding a bit of water and some sodium citrate and then adding your shredded cheese to it. And it breaks down the protein bonds and fat bonds and it makes it go liquid. And how runny your cheese is determined by how much water you've added to the sodium citrate. Less water, firmer cheese, and you'll see that in the American cheese that I made. Matt says, just a heads up, Gavin, you may be seeing a lot of new people in the live stream. You really blew up on Twitter and Reddit recently, which is why you had a huge bump in subscribers. Thanks, Matt. Yep, know all about that. I was engaging with people during the whole shenanigans, I suppose. Not only was it on Twitter and Reddit, I was on the front page of Reddit, which my son thought was awesome. So on the front page of Reddit, it was also on, what was it called? Imgur, I think that's how you pronounce it, Imgur. The meme was posted back there. Plus there was a really cool bunch of screenshots from that Parmesan video, which had all of the what I called at the time salty Italians, the Italians being angry at the cheese. So there was just a list of people being angry and telling me to reassess my cheese making skills, basically. Yeah. Anyway, it was quite funny. And what I'll do in the video that I create, the 200,000 video which I'll make, I'll put all the links and all that sort of stuff in the show notes, and everybody can have a look at that. So that'll be cool. Okay, cool. Anyway, that's enough about that. And we got another super chat. Fantastic. Who's that then? That looks like a Jim Jackson. My goodness. Hello, Jim. Thank you very much for your kind $5 donation. Says, G'day, Sir King and Madam Queen of Curd Nerds It's great to finally see you both back. Miss your curd knowledge. Thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate it. And there's your little... Oh, there's another one. My goodness, where's that from? It's all going off. Hang on. Let's get rid of that one. I don't think that's got a... Oh, yes, it does. It says, populate the moon. New sub from Tennessee. Came from the tweet. Thank you very much. Populate the moon. And Jim, there's your little super chatty thing. Thank you, mate. Now, if I can find my spot back in the questions again. This is always difficult for me because the chat's quite active. I think I was around here somewhere where Kim came into it, maybe. Maybe not. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I'm way out. Something about Blue Stilton. No, that's not the one. Oh, there we are. I'm found it. Nathan said... No, hang on. No, before that. No, this happens all the time, folks. Sorry about that. Oh, there we go. Yep, so, right, I was talking about Matthew. Right, so that's all done. Thank you, Matthew. No, I talked about the Reddit and the Twitters. Matthew says, no cheese for us for a while. We expect to be under curfew by Friday. Yeah, the Australian government hasn't done much of that. They've kind of like blocked the borders, but nothing else at the moment. And I hope everybody's going okay in these trying times, and everybody's healthy and staying isolated to keep the medical system in check. Hopefully we'll get through this without any issues, and we'll keep making cheese when I can get my hands on it. I'm getting deliveries of milk in, so I don't have to go search for it, so that's a good thing. And reaching out to other companies to see if they want a unique marketing opportunity. So I've been reaching out to other companies, and a company from the Netherlands actually reached out to me the other day, which I won't mention at the moment, but they're sending over a couple of Gouda molds, proper ones with the curved followers and all that sort of stuff. So I'll be making Gouda again soon, and using their molds, and they'll get a mention, so that'll be fantastic. Now, Rachel says, no, actually, John says, woohoo, 20,000. With all those shuttered nations and cities, people getting online and watching YouTube vids, time for 40,000. Yeah, I'd be happy with 40,000. That'd be fantastic, but we'll keep going. Thank you, John. Rachel says, does anybody know how to make hartzekäse or German hand cheese? Actually, I do know how to do that. I have a recipe. Let's, I don't know how hard it is, but I'll put it on the list. Now, for those who are new, when a cheese goes on the list, doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a video of it, so... it's my ideas list, basically. Nathan says, g'day Gavin, how long should a kefili last in the normal fridge after maturing? Depends on how fast you eat it, Nathan. I've got one that's about a month old in a Ziploc bag that's getting a reddish tint, and it's a bit soft in some spots. Storing cheese in Ziploc bags is not the best way to go. Airtight containers, yeah, they're okay, but they don't allow the cheese to breathe, and they do go mouldy pretty quick. I tend to wrap my cheese in wax-proof paper, or I'll re-vacuum pack them and stops any mould getting into them. So they're the best ways to do. So wax paper. The cheese does tend to dry out, so you got to eat it kind of like within 7 days. So that's what I'd do. Okay. We've got another super chat. Jumping there, it's Chris B. Thank you, Chris, for your kind $5 super chat. Chris says, congrats on achieving meme status. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Really do. Some of my cheeses, after aging, have an unpleasant cow taste and smell. Not bitter or acidic. Any idea? A cow smell. Chris, have you tried letting them, when they come up to room temperature, you'll find that a lot of cheeses, and especially probably not the same, but the ammonia-based ones, so all the mould ripened cheese, white mould, blue mould, they have an ammonia off gas. And some wash rind cheeses, the red mould cheeses as well. I find that if you leave them at room temperature, any of the funny, funky smells that may have been there from, say, the ripening box or from vac packing or whatever, seem to go away, and you don't have any of those problems anymore. And you can successfully eat the cheese without your nose telling you not to. I haven't had any unpleasant cow smell or taste on my cheeses, so no, I don't really know that at all. But if they don't taste, like I said, maybe you could reprocess it. That probably would be a good idea if you had any issues like that. Could be the milk, could be the starter cultures. Yeah, there's just some thoughts on that. Not a real solution. Sorry, Chris, that I couldn't help any further. Jordan says, "G'day everyone. I hope the world coming to an end is treating you all okay. I work in a surgery centre and it's day by day when we will be laid off." Sorry to hear, mate. Hope it all goes well and stay safe. Okay, Keith says, had my blue Stilton in my fridge for about 5 weeks now. It's got nice mould on the outside, but it's very moist on the outside and there's a lot of moisture in the ripening box. Is that normal? Yes, indeed it is. It'll be tacky on the outside. The coating of blue mould may even slip off. What you can do at this stage, if you like, Keith, is to wipe off the blue mould. Scrape it off like you've seen me do that before. It'll be very moist. Those high creamy cheeses, if a lot of the moisture didn't go during that 5-day turning period, then you might find that it's quite moist and tacky. But yeah, look, I've had blue cheeses like that and they taste absolutely fantastic. You could probably try it now. I've 5 weeks, a bit early. You need at least a few months for the flavours to develop in the penicillium roqueforti. Macaroni salad says, Cheeseman. Yep, that's me. Thanks, mate. Michael says, great. Thought I was late and missed it. No, you're here. Ordinary Sausage says, someone made a meme about Gavin, made me laugh. Yep, we done that. Thanks very much, Ordinary Sausage. Ricky, yep, we're doing okay, thanks, mate. Looking for a question. Patricia says, are the Aussie bushfires all done and over with? Yes, we had significant rainfall, and about half a month back, 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, they declared that all the bushfires were out. But yeah, they were burning for a long time and there was a lot of devastation. But nobody knows, the bushfires, they never happened because now it's all about coronavirus. Anyway, let's move on to find link this weight music. Yeah, it's actually called, that weight music is called Sunshine by Kevin MacLeod, and it's royalty-free music. So if anybody wants to find that music, it's called Sunshine. Gina Marina says, hello Gavin, I want to start a small-scale halloumi business. What's your best advice for me? Get good milk. Halloumi always starts with a good raw milk, either a mixture of cow's and goat's milk or goat and sheep's milk. It's up to you, and usually it's raw milk. Practice a lot first and make sure that friends and family like your cheese before you start your small-scale halloumi business. And it depends on what country you're in, because there are a lot of rules for would-be cheesemakers. There are a lot of industry rules because cheese is determined as being not a hazardous food, hazardous in production because it can be contaminated with bad bacteria during the process of cheese making. You do have to be careful. So, like I said, depending on which country you're in, Gina, then that will determine what the rules and regulations are of you selling your cheese commercially. So I'll leave it there. You'll have to do a bit of research, but that is the best advice. Get a good cheese, good milk, make a good cheese, and do your research about selling commercially. Patricia says, a true story. My doctor told me my bad cholesterol was up, and she heard that I've been making cheese, and I've been ordered to eat less of it. Yeah, my doctor tells me every time I go and visit him after my 12-monthly checkup or 6-monthly checkup, he does a blood test, and my cholesterol's just hovering at the cusp of when they want me to go on those, what are they called? Statins? Yeah, anyway, I'm not. But, yeah, I could look, let's be honest, I could lose a little bit of weight, but we'll get onto that as Kim goes through her treatment. Okay. Looking for another question. Charlie says, G'day Gav, would you consider vegan cheese? Well, technically no. It's not cheese per se in the true sense. Cheese is made by milk, rennet, salt. They're the three main ingredients. There's other additives and stuff that you can add if you're using pasteurized milk. But that's the true essence, or milk, a coagulant, and salt is a true cheese. Vegan cheeses are imitation, but they're okay. Look, I've had some really good vegan cheeses. Nothing to worry about there. Okay. Nick says, since cottage cheese is just curds and whey, would I be able to actually make cheese out of it? Yeah, you could. You can press it and make a basic farmhouse cheese, Nick. It is doable. I've seen it before. A lot of the cottage cheeses that I've made, in fact all of them, it's my nemesis cheese. A lot of the cottage cheeses are, for me, turn into cream cheese. So I just hang them in a bag and it all goes well. But yes, if the curds have formed okay, then drain off the whey and make a cheese out of it. Okay. Ethan says, hello Gav, I have a question, but I don't see the question. Okay. I found this on Reddit like 3 minutes ago. Oh, late to the party, but that's okay. Cowbelly. I don't know what the cowbelly is, but it's interesting. I'll have a look at that. Chucky says, it's debatable who makes the best cheese in the world, but you know that Italians do make some of the best. It's not to say that they have the best, it's just my opinion. I was kicked back to action. Look, yeah, they do make some fantastic cheeses, but, you know, each to their own, and everybody has their own cheese making methods, and there's fantastic cheeses all throughout the world. They're not limited just to Italy, of course. Okay, Cameron says, I love this channel, been watching for ages. Thanks, Cameron, appreciate it. Where are we? Dwayne says, hello, Gavin, I hope you and Kim are well. Yes, indeed, mate. Everybody's saying hello to Kim. Anybody else has doggy looks trying to find copious, doggy or dodgy? Dodgy looks trying to buy copious amounts of milk in the supermarket recently. Haven't tried, but yeah, you probably would with all this crazy stockpiling people are doing, or panic buying as it's usually known as. Kim and I are well stocked. We've got our own veggie garden. And there are a lot of producers around where we are, so you know we've got no issues with that sort of stuff. We've always had a full pantry, not waiting for this to happen, but preparing, and not a prepper preparing, but preparing in case we can't get access to things for a couple of weeks. So it's kind of paying off. Okay. Jacqueline says, hello, just made my first paneer. Turned out great. Thanks for all your videos and great advice. Thanks, Jacqueline. And we've got another super chat, which is, not sure what currency that is. Let's have a look. PLN50. Oh, that's cool. G'day. If you look to lose some of that godlike body of yours while eating cheese, recommend you some low carb diet. I lost 33 kilos. Studying myself with Morbier. Stay healthy. Thanks, Hubert. Appreciate it, mate. Yeah, look, I think all I need to do is a little bit more exercise and then I won't have a problem. And then I think the weight will go quite well. But thank you for your kind super chat. I appreciate it. Right, so we did Jacqueline's, which is cool. Ricky says, Kim Webber, there have been a lot of trolls invading the live streams for the past 2 weeks. I think that's the internet in general. Not really happening here because we do have a lovely moderator. Your dog is so cute. Yes, Holly is cute. She is indeed. Sheltering in place is a good time to make cheese, says Steve. And Steve's a regular on the channel. Thank you, Steve. Yes. And Steve makes some most excellent curd harps. And you can check out, I think in the description below, I've got a link to his Etsy shop. And I get a small cut of any sales for saying that. So just disclosure. But he is a nice guy. Lupus says, just missed getting to be 42nd. No, I don't understand that. But 42nd what? 42nd person viewing. Holy cow. Got 119 people watching the show. Thank you very much, everybody. That's live, of course. Rayanne says, are you staying hydrated? I believe so. John says, San Francisco should then become the world's production of cheese during those 3 weeks of shutdown. That's if you make lots of cheese, that'd be cool. Can I use Penicillium candidum instead of Geotrichum in Morbier? Unfortunately not. So the Geotrichum prepares the surface of the cheese, lowers the overall, raises the overall acidity, so it becomes more alkaline or more neutral, so that the Brevibacteria linens can grow properly on the outside of the cheese. That's why you use Geotrichum. Penicillium candidum would just grow white mold all over it, and that'd be terrible. Okay, Sean says, I was going to make Shropshire Blue, and I went on a Northeast Cheese website, on the New England Cheese website, and they had different types of Penicillium roquefort 40, PA, PH, PS, PV. Which should I use? Yeah, good question. They are various strengths. You're going to have to do your research on that, Sean. I just have two, mild and strong, and I don't know which equivalent is the same as those ones. All different companies have different nomenclatures, and they describe their cultures differently and their molds differently. So you're going to have to get some advice. Probably best to go and have a look at Jim Wallace's recipe on the Shropshire Blue, which you can see on New England Cheese Making Supply. They do have recipes there, and that's one of the places. No, that's where I got the Shropshire, but no, I actually got it out of Ricky Carroll's book, same company. And I modified it for the size of cheese that I make. Go and have a look. It should specify which Penicillium roquefort 40 you need to use, so check that out. Perry says, hi, sweet Holly. Show the pup, please. Yeah, I think we did all that. Hi, Holly. Zeb says, hey, Gavin, how would you recommend making a follower for pressing cheese? Well, first I'd use food grade plastic. So you'd be looking at high density polyethylene is one of the better ones. And you'll find that most of those white plastic chopping boards are made from high density polyethylene. And what you can do is cut yourself out a circle of that. So measure obviously the top of the basket that you're using, and using not a handsaw but a jigsaw, you can cut out a circle. And we've got another super chat there which hasn't come up on my chatty box, so we're going to have to go down the bottom. I'm going to remember where I was up to. 8:37. Let's go to the bottom. Sam Tomlinson, thank you, Sam, for your £2 super chat. Gav, most underrated cheese and why? All the best. I would say that the washed rind cheeses are most underrated. People think they're smelly. They are. They smell like old socks. But it is lovely to eat. They smell stinky, the stinky cheeses, but the flavour of those washed rind red mould cheeses are to die for. They are. So people, when they say Limburger stinks and all that sort of stuff, I don't worry about the smell. The flavour is amazing. So they're underrated cheeses, I reckon, in my personal opinion. Now, back to 837. I'm not going to get through all these questions today, but thank you so much for putting them in. 837, right, Zach, we did that. Right, Tyler said, making some Stilton blue cheese and about to put in the cheese cave, which is a wine cooler with a humidifier. Do I need to put the cheese in a container if I can get the humidity to 90%? Look, you can. It's up to you, though. Remembering that Penicillium roqueforti mould is prolific when the humidity is high. So any other cheeses you've got in your cheese cave or cheese fridge will certainly become infected with Penicillium roqueforti. Reason I use ripening boxes and don't do the humidifier thing and keep the cheeses moist is because I've got lots of other cheeses in there that may become cross-contaminated. So that is the reason why I use ripening boxes. So maybe you could, if it's the only cheese in there, that's great. But then remember, you're going to have to wipe the walls of the wine fridge once your cheese is finished, because there will be blue mould lurking in all the corners and all that sort of stuff, and will then infect the next cheese you put in there if it's not a blue mould cheese. Imagine if you were trying to make some, say, camembert, and all the Penicillium roqueforti that are lurking on the walls of your cheese fridge attack it, and you have something like a petite blue instead. So yeah, that's my thought on it. If you've got a room dedicated or a fridge dedicated for blue cheese, great, go for it. If not, use a ripening box. You'll stop cross-contamination. Loyal Sub says, cheese taste test dogs, my heart. Yeah, they're cute. If you want to go and see the cheese taste test dogs, go back and have a look at I think it's the Edam video taste test. And Kim, if you can put the link up to that for all the dog lovers out there. Lance says, oh my goodness, this just keeps getting better and better. The sign, the dog, you're the best part of Corona so far. Thank you so much, Lance. Appreciate it. Nasibe, I think that's how you say it. Dear Gavin, it will be so lovely if you record a video on making gorgonzola and Danish blue. I actually have gorgonzola on the list. Gorgonzola has a specific type of blue mould. Let me think if I can remember. It's Penicillium glaucum, if I remember rightly. But I had this piece of gorgonzola in the fridge for ages, letting the blue mould grow, and I was going to take that out of the cheese and put it in the milk, or just cut off a piece of Penicillium, cut off a piece of gorgonzola dolce, and put that into the milk, and it should grow, and it usually does. But yes, I haven't got around to doing that, but yes, I'll put it back on the list. Populate the Moon. Oh, we had a super chat from you. Thank you. Hey Gav, new sub from the tweet. Me and my mates are actually watching your stream right now from America. You're generally an astounding person to watch. Work their magic in the craft. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Really do. Laura says, Gavin, have you ever made a Dutch cheese? Indeed, many Dutch cheeses. So, just to rattle them off, I made Edam, a Gouda or Gouda, Leerdama, what's that one? The holy one. No, sorry, Leerdama is the holy one. Leyden or Kamijnekaas. So there's, five Dutch cheeses. Probably some more in there somewhere that I can't remember, but there's 5. And Kim, if you can find some of the links to those, so that's Edam, Gouda, Leerdama, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Leerdama and Leiden or Kaminokaas. So there's some cheeses that are Dutch in origin. Michaela, I think that's how you say it. Sadly, I'm lactose intolerant but love cheese. How do you solve my problem? Well, you make lactose-free cheese. And I do have a couple of videos on lactose-free cheeses. Firstly, there's a quick mozzarella that I made with a milk called Zymel. We'll just get rid of that. That's Juan. G'day, Juan. Thank you very much for your super chat. Doesn't look like there's any note to that. But thank you so much for your €1 super chat. So Kim, if you can find the link, sorry Kim, I know you're running around like crazy bugger here. Pop the link to the lactose-free mozzarella, and that'll help out Michaela. So we'll go from there. Pugger the Mugger says, sorry if this has been asked, but how does it feel from the after effects of the tweet? No, you're actually the first person that's asked how I feel. Overwhelmed. Kim and I were giggling all the time when we saw the count go up. I think it's just gone up to, I think it's 203,000 now. So well on my way to 1 million for the next. What do we got? Where is it? There it is. The next YouTube plaque they send my way. But yeah, thank you so much for all the people that came over from the tweet, Reddit, 9gag, Imgur, all those other places. But very cool. Thank you so much. Kim says the boys in this house have passed their germs on to me. Yes, indeed we did. Sorry about that, darling. Can I make mesophilic and thermophilic culture at home? Yeah, we already did that. Fateh, I think that's how you say it. Sorry for butchering people's names if I have. It's just, I'm Australian and I'm not very good at names. But yeah, it's cool. Yeah, we did that. Buttermilk and yogurt you can use for those 2 types. Gina says, is your online cheese course interactive? Is it interactive? There are videos in the cheese making course. Lots of videos, lots of documentation. Interactive as in, can you ask questions? Yes, you can ask questions of the teacher if you don't understand, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. That's a guarantee. So if you do sign up for the Curd Nerd course, which I think if you put the little info thing, I don't know if you can see it up there, the little info thing, then you will find a link to the Curd Nerd Academy, and you can check out my beginner's cheese making course. But yes, certainly you can ask questions during the duration of the course if you get stuck. No issues whatsoever. People have been praying for my beautiful wife. Thank you. Yes, Kim is doing okay, but the chemotherapy does have a toll on her body, and yeah. So we're going lots of hugs, lots of kisses, and lots of support from me and Ben and all the other friends and family around. I really do appreciate it. And in particular, Kim's got this friend called Anna. I'm not sure if Anna's on the stream today, but she's got a friend called Anna, and she rings her morning and night, and they have a great chat, and that really does help Kim. So Anna, if you're watching, love to you. Really do appreciate your support on a daily basis. Good on you, darling. Okay, yeah, where am I up to? Brizzy Girl, g'day, long time no see. Machel, I think that's how you say it, waiting on my first pepper jack to ripen. Got 6 weeks left. Ooh, it'll be a spicy one. Jason says, hey Gav, I went to pull my Gouda out of the wrap after overnight and tore the rind, exposing the curds. Oh no, it's not that bad. Will it be okay to dry and vac pack? Yeah, it will. Hopefully not too much of the rind came off. Now, the issue is the cheesecloth has always got to be moist when you put it in the mould and then put your curds in. So hopefully it was moist. If it wasn't, the cheesecloth sticks like glue. Also, for some of those higher temperature cheeses like Gouda is, then what you can do is spray the cheesecloth with a light misting of vinegar, white vinegar, and that prevents the cheesecloth from sticking to the cheese in the mould. So there's a couple of hints. Hopefully it won't happen last time. Ricky Donna says, I just heard Gavin Weber plug What Culture. Huh? What Culture is a great channel. I was actually watching it last night, and they're in quarantine as well, and they're doing well. That's a popular culture movie kind of reviewy sort of listicle channel, which are pretty good. I think they've got about 1 million subs, which is great. Thanks for answer, and I'm a Polish guy. Thanks, Dom. Oh, I can't even pronounce your name. Sorry, mate. Appreciate it though. Paolo says, "Hi, Kim. How is Kim doing?" Well, I think that's what you were saying. But yeah, very good. Perry says, an Italian-American family I know have relatives who make hard goat's cheese that rival Parmigiano Reggiano. If not better, maybe try that. Look, Parmigiano Reggiano has a DOP accreditation for a reason. It is a great cheese. But there are so many artisan cheesemakers and home cheesemakers that can make something that tastes fairly good and a fairly spot on. Thinking back to my Pecorino Romano, I did a taste test, 2-3 weeks ago? It's 2.5 years old, this cheese. Made with used milk, raw used milk, and it was beautiful. It was one of the best cheeses I had tasted of that category, hard cheese. One of the best cheeses of that category I've ever tasted. It's just mind-blowing. You can't buy that sort of cheese in the shops because, you put your love, blood, sweat and tears into it, and really there's no comparison. So, the naysayers that say, when I'm making, cheeses that people say, no, that's not that cheese, really, you haven't tasted it, you wouldn't know. Anyway, Larky says from Tassie, aging a cheddar, how much mold growth on the cheese is okay? Well, mine was covered in it if you're doing cloth banding, and you'll find that the cloth banding protects the cheese mostly, so you shouldn't have too many problems. If you feel soft spots on the outside of the cheese though, then the mold has got inside. Cut it off, pack it or wax it. Michelle says, can I make roast pepper cheddar, roast red pepper cheese and it not go rancid? Look, I made a jalapeno cheddar, stir-curd cheddar. It had fresh jalapenos in it that I boiled. So any bacterial yeasts on it were killed. So it's fine. It was beautiful, beautiful cheese. Not too many problems at all. So you just have to quickly blanch and boil the fresh vegetable. I think red pepper. I think you're talking about chili peppers. So yeah, and that'll kill off anything bad, and your cheese should be fine. Don't age it too long. Don't age it for a year and expect it to be okay. 3 months tops is what I did for the cheddar. Now I'm coming to the end of the show. We've got 6 minutes left. It's usually only an hour long. And I know I'm only at 8:46 in the comments, and there's so many people. So if you've got an urgent question that you want me to answer, then hit the super chat and I'll get to it straight away. Anyway, Rocky's got a question. Says, Gavin, I found my favourite cheese, Camzola, your Little Bear recipe with 1 ounce of Gorgonzola crumbles mashed in 60 mils of water. Add before the rennet, follow the rest of aging, and bam, awesome Camzola. That sounds very interesting. That's kind of what I'm going to do with the Gorgonzola that I'm going to make is use Gorgonzola cheese and do it that way. But well done, Rocky. Well done. Sasha says, hi Gavin, today I was making mozzarella from your recipe and had a problem. In the end, my mozzarella was too hard. On a top, It was as normal mozzarella, but inside it was too hard. You really do have to stretch it to get it to work. And we got Nico has put in a super chat. Nicola, sorry, Nicola, 100 something there, not sure what it is. Hi Gavin, long time no see, no questions, just wishing you and Kim all the best. Thank you very much, Nicola, I appreciate it, and thank you for your 100, could be Czech something, I think, whatever currency you use, sorry, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been to Czechoslovakia, and it's probably the Czech Republic. No, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, we'll move along. We'll get another question in there. Sasha says, I've used fresh cow's milk, and I've also was trying to make ricotta out of its whey, but it never works. Yeah, so a mozzarella is an acidic cheese, so you won't be able to make ricotta out of the whey. You'll have to use sweet whey, not acidic whey. Sweet whey is more from the cheddar family and harder cheeses, and like Alpine cheese and stuff like that. So you won't be able to make ricotta from mozzarella whey, unfortunately. As far as the mozzarella goes, if you're having trouble with the 30-minute mozzarella, then I advise you to highly advise you to switch to the traditional method. So adding starter culture to the milk and letting it acidify slowly, and then stretching the curd. It's a lot better than the 30-minute mozzarella, which has all sorts of problems if you don't get it right. And you've got to eat it within a day anyway, whereas normal mozzarella, it'll sit in brine and have no issues at all. You should develop a new cheese, Weber cheese. This is from Darren, be creative. I have, Darren. I've made many cheeses of my own creation. Bloomy Goat Blue is one. Petite Blue is another. Let me think, what's another one? Well, the Cam Blue that I made wasn't really a Cam Blue, so I suppose that's my own creation. Let me think, there's some more. Lazarus's Cabin is another one that I made. Yeah, so there's a few cheeses that I've made myself in my own recipes, and they're available on the channel, of course. And Kim's putting up links, but that was like ages ago. So I've got 3 minutes to go. Let's just get out one more question. Let's have a look. Some random little kiddo says, is it true if you vacuum seal after air drying to mature, you don't need to worry about humidity? That's correct. You don't need to worry about the humidity in your ripening place, your cheese cave or cheese fridge or whatever you want to call it. Vacuum sealing, all you do is turn every week and it's fine. Just make sure you watch for any moisture that's being sucked in the bag or accumulating in the bag. If there's too much, then unpack it and then repack it again. And yeah, it doesn't need any air to mature. It's the breakdown of the enzymes which create the breakdown of the proteins and the fats by the enzymes left over from the starter cultures, that and the rennet and lipase if you add that and all that sort of stuff. It's that breakdown. It's cheese is basically rotting milk. So it's that rotting process that creates all the lovely flavours, not exposure to air. Unless, of course, it's a mould ripened cheese which needs oxygen to work. So like camemberts and blue cheeses and washed rind cheeses. All the other ones, yeah, vacuum pack your heart out. Okay, that's it for the show today. We're at 29 minutes. I'll go down the bottom. Kim's given me the wind up. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry I didn't catch everybody else. But if you want to go and buy some stuff, don't forget to pop over to littlegreenworkshops.com.au. I don't have a screenshot of it, but yep, littlegreenworkshops.com.au. You can put the link. We ship all over the world except a few countries where customs doesn't let us. And we only ship cheese making supplies, of course. But yeah, all good. If you want to support me, you can hit the join button if you want to. Also, there's a link down to Patreon where you can support the show financially as well. And don't forget, if you want some cool merch like Certified Curd Nerd, and of course, I have to get up, Blessed Are the Cheesemakers, plus G'day Curd Nerd, and a few others I'm developing at the moment. There's a couple of t-shirts that'll be happening. So we'll be putting those up on the merch shelf soon, so you can check those over at Teespring or go to the merch shelf down below under the video. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. You look after yourselves. We will see you again soon. I'll schedule it and announce it on the community tab. Can't guarantee when we're going to put up another live stream, but hope you've enjoyed this one, and thank you so much. And in the next day or so, I'll be putting out a 200,000 video, thank you video, as well as these lovely cheese making videos and the cheese that I'm making this weekend. So keep calm, make cheese in these troubled times. Thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and I'll see you next time. See you later.